Hello everyone, this is part 8 of What If Naruto's Mother Was Tsunade Senju, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
In the Hokage office. Currently in his office, the Hokage was debriefing his youngest son Asuma and recently made Jon and Yuhi Kurenai about their teams who had passed their team tests given to them by Asuma and Kurenai. Just as the Hokage had finished debriefing them and was about to dismiss them, Kakashi suddenly shunshed body flickered into the office. Ah, Kakashi, I did not expect you arrive for a while longer. I'm guessing that you have finished testing your latest genin team, spoke the old Hokage, as he puffed his pipe. Yes, Lord Hokage, I have, replied the copy nin. So Kakashi, did they pass or did they fail like all the others? Asked Asuma as he was curious if this team did what none of the other teams that Kakashi had tested had done, pass his bell test. Asuma wasn't the only one that was curious, as Kurenai was equally curious as she knew that Naruto was on Kakashi team and from what she saw of him and what little Hinata told her about him, he seemed a nice enough young man. Hiruzen was also eager to find out if Naruto passed Kakashi test. He had originally planned to watch the test on his crystal ball. But unfortunately, a meeting with his advisors, Koharu, Homura and Danzo took longer than expected and then he had to deal with the greatest bane of his existence, paperwork. Where by the time he was done, he had to debrief all the Jonin senseis to see who passed and who failed. Well, to put it simply, the team passed, replied Kakashi. Upon hearing this, the Hokage smiled, Kurenai nodded and Asuma raised his eyebrow, as he hadn't been exactly sure if this team would pass or fail, although considering that it had the top Kunoichi, the Rookie of the Year and last Uchiha heir in Konoha, along with the Senju heir, who was Tsunade's son and the descendant of the Shodaime and Nadaime Hokages. The team had a better chance of passing than any of the other teams that had tried. Although he was happy that the kids passed, he was still slightly disappointed as there had been a large betting pool with a large number of the shinobi populace about if the kids would be the team that passed the test. Many had bet that they would pass, considering who was on the team, while many others bet that they wouldn't considering Kakashi's high standards and track record. Asuma himself had bet they would fail, hence he lost a tidy sum of money. So the team passed your test, Kakashi, and figured out the hidden meaning of it, spoke Asuma and he puffed out a smoke from his cig. Well, they didn't exactly, replied Kakashi. Huh, said Asuma in slight confusion and was joined by his father and Kurenai as they were slightly confused as well. Well, to be correct, Naruto was the only one that really passed the test while the other two failed, answered Kakashi. But how did they all pass when two of them failed? You're not making any sense, Kakashi. Asked Kurenai. They all passed because Naruto figured out the meaning of the test, beat me and got the bells off me and gave them the bells, said Kakashi. When Kakashi said this, all three people could not believe what they heard. Asuma dropped his cigarette, Kurenai was wide-eyed and Hiruzen dropped his pipe. After a minute or so of silence, Kurenai spoke up. Kakashi, you can't be serious. You're telling us that Naruto, a newly made genin, defeated you, one of the strongest jonins in the village, in a fight. Yay, Kakashi, you can't actually expect us to believe that? Asked Asuma in disbelief, as the very idea of it was ridiculous. Even if this kid is a Senju and is Tsunade-sama's son, it's impossible. Well, it's true, I'm afraid, although I do admit I underestimated him several times in the fight and he already knew a lot about me, from what his mother and Jiraiya-sama told him about me. He also had me at a disadvantage as I knew none of his abilities and skills. Hence I didn't know what he was fully capable of, until it was too late, where he then beat me. Perhaps you should explain exactly what happened during the test, Kakashi, spoke the Sandaime, as he was now very curious what exactly Naruto could do, as Jiraiya was supposed to show up yesterday and tell him about Naruto's abilities, but he did not show. The Hokage was a patient man, but after hearing his 12-year-old surrogate grandson and newly made genin beating Konoha's top jonin in a fight made him want to know exactly what Naruto was capable of and what his former students had been training him in. Kakashi of course agreed and began to tell them how he had explained the rules of the bell test to Naruto and the others, after which he then went on to explain how he beat Sakura by using Magen, Narukumi no Jutsu, demonic illusion, hell viewing technique. When Kurenai heard this, she frowned, since she had seen Sakura's grads and academy records, hence she should have easily got out of that weak level genjutsu. This of course made her wonder what exactly the academy had been teaching these kids today and wonder how far had the academy levels fallen, if the top Kunoichi could not get out of a simple weak level genjutsu. Kakashi explained how Naruto knew the first meaning of the test thanks to his mother and Jiraiya, where he then rescued Sakura where he tried and failed to get her to work with him. Kakashi then went on to explain his battle with Sasuke, where the Hokage and the two other Jonin senseis were both surprised and impressed with how well Sasuke fared against Kakashi by himself. Not to mention how he knew and had mastered the Kaiten, Gokakyu no Jutsu, fire style, great fireball technique, AC rank level fire jutsu. Kakashi then told them how like before with Sakura, Naruto rescued Sasuke and tried to get him to work with him, but failed again like with Sakura. But even despite hearing how Naruto had failed to get Sasuke to work with him, the Hokage along with Asuma and Kurenai had been impressed with how Naruto managed to trick Kakashi and escape, as it had shown that he had fully mastered of the basics and could use them effectively in battle. Once he finished that explanation, Kakashi proceeded to explain his fight with Naruto. Both Sarutobis and Kurenai was greatly surprised when they heard that Naruto had created his own taijutsu style. Even if it wasn't fully developed yet, it still showed that Naruto had a great deal of talent to do that at his age. They had been further impressed when they learned of Naruto's kenjutsu skill, but that quickly turned to shock when Kakashi told them that he had a wind affinity and had created his own A-level rank wind jutsu. Damn, the kid actually created a technique like that by himself, said Asuma as he puffed out some smoke from a new cigarette as he was clearly impressed with Naruto's skill level when Kakashi told them as to master his wind affinity to the point of being able to use Hin no Jutsu, flying swallow technique, by just teaching himself, at his age and still create an A-rank jutsu. As powerful as the one Kakashi described to them, told him that Naruto was far more talented than everyone thought. He also wondered at the same time if he could get Naruto to teach him that technique, as from what Kakashi told him of it, it could be very useful in a fight. Impossible, Kakashi, no child could create a technique like that by himself, replied Kurenai in disbelief as she could not believe that Naruto created an A-rank level wind technique like that by himself. Well, it true, Kurenai, as he had no reason to lie and I could tell he wasn't, not to mention there no way his mother or Jiraiya-sama could have taught him it, as neither of them have a wind affinity or are skilled in wind jutsus, replied back Kakashi. The Hokage himself remained silent, as Kakashi and the other discussed Naruto abilities in wind jutsu, as he was just as equally as shocked as his son and Kurenai, while at the same time proud of Naruto as a grandfather would be. You're truly a father-son Naruto, as I would expect nothing less from a son of Minato, thought the old Hokage with a smile. Soon enough the discussing about Naruto's wind jutsu's abilities ended and Kakashi went on to explain the rest of his fight with Naruto, where he explained how Naruto was able to use Bunshin Daibaku, a clone great explosion, which surprised the three people, as well as explain how Naruto was clearly skilled in medical ninjutsu as he used Chakra no Mesu, chakra scalpel, effectively against Kakashi. This of course was of no great surprise to the three since Naruto was the son of the greatest medic in the world, so it would be only natural that Tsunade would train her son in medical ninjutsu, and how to use some jutsus in a fight. But even still they were impressed with his skill in using Chakra no Mesu so effectively in a fight, as it would be tricky even for most skilled medics to do. But as impressed as they were with Naruto's medical skills, they were utterly stunned when they learned of Naruto's Chakra no Parasu, chakra pulse technique. Naruto created a technique like that? Asked Sandaime in shock after Kakashi explained Naruto's Chakra no Parasu. The copy nin just nodded, as he didn't blame the old Hokage for being shocked, nor could he blame Kurenai or Asuna, who were equally shocked. Damn, this kid gets more and more impressive by the minute, spoke Asuma, where Kurenai could only nod in agreement. Once Hiruzen, Kurenai and Asuma had gotten over their shock of a genin creating a technique as advanced and as impressive as the Chakra no Parasu. Kakashi then asked if the Hokage could bring his crystal ball into the office from his viewing room, as what he was about to tell them next was best left to being shown. Curious, the Sandaime agreed and called his secretary and asked her to bring his crystal ball into his office, which she did and then left. Once the Sandaime's secretary had left, Kakashi asked the Hokage to show them Training Ground 3. When he did, he along with Kurenai and Asuma were astounded to see that the entire training ground was completely destroyed. Where the ground was ruined with massive holes and cranks in ground, as well as both small and massive lumps of earth and rock all over the ground, it was like a small but powerful earthquake happened in the training ground. Kakashi, are you telling us that Naruto did all that by himself? sighed the wide-eyed Kurenai, where Kakashi just nodded. Did he use some kind of earth jutsu or something? Asked Asuma. No, he did that all when he hit the ground with just his fist, replied Kakashi, where the old Hoage and the other's eyes widened more in shock. Kakashi, you can't mean that Naruto has? Asked the Sandaime, but before he could finish, Kakashi finished it for him. Yes, Naruto has Tsunade-sama's superhuman strength, although not at the level of his mother yet, but enough to rival it, and given time he could match it, and as you already must know, that if he can do this, it also means that he has inherited his mother's natural flawless chakra control. When the three other people in the office heard this, they could believe it. The Sandaime was the first to get over his shock, where he sighed. Sigh. It figures that Tsunade would teach Naruto how to do her superhuman strength. I only hope that Naruto hasn't inherited her habit of causing collateral damage. He thought as he remembered the amount of damage Tsunade would do to the village when she lost her temper over some event or thing Jiraiya did when they were younger, after she created the technique. Not to mention the amount of paperwork it caused him, as the damage caused his paperwork to triple. Kakashi then continued on with his story, where he then went on to explain Naruto's genjutsu skill and how he used Magen, Niju Kokoni Arazu no Jutsu, demonic illusion, double false surroundings technique, and used a Magen, Jubaku Satsu, demonic illusion, tree binding death to nearly defeat him. Kurenai was of course greatly impressed with Naruto's genjutsu skill, as it took good knowledge and skill with genjutsu to do something like that. Kurenai and the others were further impressed when Kakashi told them how Naruto tricked Kakashi and caught him in a Kekai Kote Fuan, four-corner immobilization seal. As not everyone could trick and trap Kakashi, and it showed that Naruto had not only good tactical skills, but also good sealing skills, which wasn't surprising as Jiraiya had helped train Naruto. But they were utterly shocked again when Kakashi told them that Naruto had both water and earth affinities along with his wind affinity, revealing he had 3 natural nature affinities, something that was extremely rare to happen unless the person had some elemental bloodline. They were shocked even further when Kakashi told them that Naruto had the same kind of high affinity to water that his great-granduncle the Nadaime Hokage had, although Naruto could not do it at the same level as the Nadaime yet, but over time and training he could very well could. Kakashi, are you certain of this? Spoke the elder Sarutobi, to which Kakashi just nodded. My Kami, I never thought that Naruto could actually inherit Sensei's high water affinity, to be able to create a full water dragon from just the moisture of the air and surrounding plants and trees. Is nothing short of incredible, said Sarutobi, as he could also just image Koharu and Homura reaction when they heard this. They're more Hokage-sama, spoke Kakashi, which got everyone attention as many were going over what they had just learned. It seems that young Naruto has actually 4 elemental affinities, not 3, shocking the other 3 people in the room. But before they could interrupt him, Kakashi continued on, you see, when Naruto used the Suten, Suiruden no Jutsu, water style, water dragon bullet technique on me. He also created 2 other clones and had them focus his different element affinities for him to combine them with his water dragon. He combined his wind affinity to increase the water dragon's speed and power. While he had his other clone channel his lightning affinity to increase the water dragon's attacking power, making the jutsu greatly more powerful than it originally was. Kakashi, are you saying that not only has Naruto 4 natural nature affinities, something that is about 1 in a million or more, but also successfully did an advanced level combination jutsu with AB ranked level water jutsu? Asked Asuma in surprise. As the more he heard about this fight, the more Naruto sounded something like the second coming of the Yondaime Hokage. Yes, replied Kakashi, simple. Getting over his shock again, Sandaime sighed, as he didn't think that he could be any more astonished than he was right now, as Naruto had shown more skill than he ever thought possible. Minato, my friend, you and Tsunade truly created a monster, he thought, as a small chuckle could not help but escape his lips, after which he turned back to Kakashi. Is there any other surprises you have left yet to tell us, Kakashi, because I don't think my old heart can take much more, spoke the old Hokage with a slight smile. Just one, Hokage-sama. It seems that Naruto has Mokuton, said Kakashi. For a few moments the Hokage said nothing, after which he then spoke again calmly. Could you say that again, Kakashi? I don't think I quite heard you right, as I thought you said that Naruto had Mokuton. I did, as Naruto does indeed have the Mokuton power of his great-grandfather the Shodaime Hokage. WWWHHHHHAATTTT. Cried the Hokage as he spat out his pipe out again in complete and utter shock, while both Asuma and Kurenai were stupefied. Once the Hokage got over his shock, he looked Kakashi straight in the eye. Kakashi, are you certain of this? Positive, Hokage-sama, replied Kakashi with complete seriousness, where he then explained the rest of what happened. Once Kakashi finished, the Hokage just fell back into his chair and muttered a single word: Mokuton. Naruto has Mokuton. Who could have believed that of all the members of the Senju clan to have lived, the Mokuton powers would re-emerge in Naruto, the Jinchuriki of the Kyubi no Yoko, though the Sandaime, as he realized what this meant for Naruto. Truly, Naruto, you are the most surprising and unpredictable shinobi I have ever come across in my many years. But how is that possible? Spoke as still stunned Kurenai, though Mokuton was not a bloodline, as only the Shodaime Hokage had it and none of his descendants like Tsunade-sama had it. I do not know Kurenai, but I believe that former students Jiraiya and Tsunade know, as I can't believe that they would not know how Naruto has the Mokuton, answered the old Hokage, as he now realized why Naruto refused to tell him any of his abilities. No doubt Jiraiya wanted to tell and explain everything himself, for fear in case someone overheard Naruto telling him. But even still, he wanted to know why he was not told sooner, as it was clear that Naruto had this ability for a while, considering how he was able to use Mokuton to capture Kakashi. Naruto, you are a true Senju in every way, thought the elder Sarutobi as he began to image the council reaction to Naruto having Mokuton, since if Naruto had it, then there was a new possibility that Mokuton may finally become an official bloodline. Where there was a slight possibility that he could pass it to any children he may have in the future. Also, once the council heard this, then the members who had hoped to somehow arrange a marriage with Naruto will double if not triple their efforts to make it happen. As Mokuton was probably Konoha's most highly revered ability, even more so than the Sharingan, as it was with this power that the Shodaime Hokage was able to build Konoha and create the forest around it. Not to mention its abilities rivaled that of the Uchiha clan Sharingan, and it had the power to control and subdue the Bijus. Sarutobi would not be surprised if certain members of the council would demand that once Naruto was of marry age, he would marry someone who the council believed would bear strong children in the hope of producing more Mokuton wielders. He also could almost image Koharu, Danzo and Homura shocked looks when he informed them and the council, since he would have too. He also now understood how Jiraiya must have gotten Tsunade to agree to let Naruto become a Konoha shinobi, as he would need to come here to be trained in Mokuton, where Jiraiya must have told Tsunade what Orochimaru had done. After the shock wore off everyone, Kakashi finished with his story and told the others the remainder of what happened and how Naruto had figured out the second meaning of the test by himself, which made the old Hokage proud, but still he did not have the same effect on him as Naruto having the Mokuton. Hokage-sama, what do you intend to do next? Asked Kurenai. I will inform the council of this, as I have to tell them in matters such as this. Also I will have we speak to Jiraiya about the matter when he arrives and we will go from there, replied the Sandaime. Hokage-sama, if I may, I would like to make a suggestion, spoke Kakashi, where the Hokage nodded, telling him to go ahead. I would like to suggest that Naruto be taken off my team. At this, Asuma and Kurenai snapped their heads to Kakashi and looked at him like he was crazy. They had done it so fast that both Kakashi and the Hokage wondered how their necks didn't snap off. Kakashi, you can't be serious, said Kurenai in surprise. Yeah, Kakashi, are you nuts? Asked Asuma. I can assure you, Asuma, I'm quite sane. Then why the hell would you want to take the kid off your team, especially one as talented as him? You basically just told us that the kid is more talented than any other genin that Konoha has had in years. You could even say he's the Senju clan's version of Itachi without the whole killing his clan thing. Not to mention you have Itachi little brother who you said is a prodigy as well, and you have the top Konoiki Haruno Sakura. Do you know how many Jonin senseis who would kill to be in your shoes? You probably have the best team that Konoha has had since the Sannin, and you want to get rid of the most talented one among them. Half the freaking Jonin senseis here were practically begging to be the kid's sensei only a few days ago, and that was before we knew all this, spoke Asuma. The reason I'm doing it is because it is what is best for Naruto, as he needs a different sensei, one who can help him better than I can. Don't get me wrong, I would be more than happy to train Naruto, but I'm not the right sensei for him, as I can't teach him how to control his Mokuton abilities. I don't have much skill in Kenjutsu, and I don't have any wind jutsus. Not to mention I don't know any medical ninjutsu and my genjutsu skills are limited. Besides, once Sasuke activates his Sharingan, I will have to focus a lot of my time on him, as I'm the only person that can train in using it. After which my remaining time would turn to Sakura and Naruto, which will not be enough for him as he needs help in things like Mokuton, and I believe you will agree with me, Hokage-sama, that there's someone far more qualified than me to help him in that, replied Kakashi, giving the Hokage a knowing look. The Hokage of course nodded in understanding and was actually pleased that Kakashi suggested it, as he was about to suggest the very same thing that Kakashi just did, and he did not like the idea of having to order Kakashi to give up one of his students. Then who the hell can teach the kid better than you, Kakashi? Asked Asuma, as he was not getting what Kakashi was talking about. Then I believe that her introduction is in order, spoke the Sandaime, where he spoke out, Fox, Tiger, please reveal yourselves, after which two masked Anbu appeared. One was a woman with long red fiery hair that went down her rear, the other was a tall man with short brown hair. You may both remove your masks, spoke the Sandaime, where both Anbu nodded and took off their masks, revealing a young man in his mid-20s and young woman in her mid-30s. Yo, Tenzo, Kushina-senpai greeted Kakashi friendly-like with his tradition-eye smile, where both smile and nodded. Asuma, Kurenai, allow me to introduce you to Captain Uzumaki. Kushina and Tenzo, spoke the Sandaime. Kurenai eyes widen, recognizing Uzumaki Kushina, one of Konoha's top female shinobis, otherwise known as the Baradi Shinku no Akari, Bloody Crimson Fury, and also known in Konoha as Akai Chishio no Habanero, Red Hot-Blooded Habanero. 1. Tenzo, I believe you and Kushina heard everything, so I need not explain what I would like you to do, spoke the old Hokage. Hi, Hokage-sama, and it would be my honor to teach Chuan-sama's son and train him in his Mokuton powers. Excuse me, Lord Hokage, but how is Tenzo here, going to teach the kid Mokuton, as the only user other than the kid was the Shodaime Hokage, asked Asuma in a neutral tone. At this reply, the Sandaime could not help but feel slightly hurt, as ever since the death of his eldest son neither he nor his younger son had seen eye to eye much. They even had an argument when he joined the Shugonin Junichi, 12 Guardian Ninja, and ever since his return things have been strenuous at best, especially when they were alone. But quickly pushing that aside, the Hokage began to explain the events that lead to Tenzo have Mokuton. When Kurenai and Asuma heard the story, both were horrified. Kurenai felt like she was going to be sick, while Asuma felt disgusted at what his father's former student did, as it showed how far that man had fallen from grace. The others in the room who already knew the story did not blame Asuma or Kurenai for how they felt, for they felt the same when they first heard it first, or in Hiruzen case saw what Orochimaru had done. As you both now know, I will have Naruto placed under Tenzo care as his apprentice so that he can teach Naruto Mokuton. Hence from now on Tenzo will go by Yamato and be Naruto's new sensei, where you will be given the rank of Jonin, spoke the Hokage. Hi, I understand and accept, Hokage-sama, replied the now named Yamato. Good. Also you should know, Yamato, you will have to share apprenticeship with Jiraiya, as he has claimed Naruto as his apprentice, although I'm sure you will be willing to share it considering you will be teaching Naruto to use his Mokuton power. Also as well you should know that Kushina will be assisting part-time, spoke the Hokage before Kushina interrupted him. Excuse me, Hokage-sama, but why I'm going to be assisting Yamato, as the boy has both Jiraiya and Tenzo training him, he doesn't need another, replied Kushina. Kushina, you are Konoha foremost Kenjutsu expert and one of our best Fuinjutsu users, which is why I believe that Naruto will benefit greatly from your help in Kenjutsu and Fuinjutsu. But that in itself is only a cover, as I'm assigning you to act as Naruto's bodyguard at least for a while, said the Sandaime before being interrupted again by Kushina. You mean I'm babysitting him? Said annoyed Kushina. Not exactly, Kushina, as Naruto has already shown he can handle himself in a fight, but yes, I do want to help protect him, when on mission as well as around Konoha. As you can guess, once news spreads of Naruto's existence, not to mention what he's capable of. Many of our enemies and will come after Naruto, for he is the son of Tsunade and the first natural-born Mokuton user since the Shodaime Hokage, who could very well rebuild a new Senju clan filled with Mokuton users, something that many villages would love to have considering its abilities. Not only that, but I want you to help protect Naruto from threats inside the village itself, as there are already many groups in Konoha like the civilians and Danzo, who will want to use Naruto for their own means, and once they learn of what Naruto can do, they will want Naruto even more. So to manipulate and use him for their own use, and as you can already guess, when Naruto is older he will have enormous influence in the village. That is why I had Naruto placed in an apartment near your own so that you can keep an eye on him better, said the Hokage. Upon hearing this, Kushina nodded in understanding and accepted the Hokage's mission, where she was now a Jonin, but would keep her own name as she preferred not to use a code name. Also Kurenai, Asuma, I would like you to help Naruto part-time and even mix him with your teams a bit, but when it best suits you and will not interfere with your team's training, said the Sandaime. But Hokage-sama, why us? Surely Jiraiya-sama, Kushina-san, Yamato-san along with Tsunade-sama when she returns will be more than enough to help train young Naruto, spoke Kurenai. The reason is because, due to the threat that Naruto will be under from our enemies, he will need to become as strong as he possible can and quickly as he can so to be able to defend himself. Also, since he will have no teammates, I think it best that he mix with others his own age, as he spent most of his life traveling with his mother and has very few real friends his own age. So it will do him good to make new ones here where he can form bonds with them and in the village. Not to mention as well, you Kurenai are one of our top genjutsu users, and Naruto needs a good genjutsu teacher and you Asuma are one of only 2 wind users here. The other being Danzo, and I would like you to train Naruto further in wind jutsu, as Danzo may use that excuse to get close to Naruto and to try and manipulate him, said the old Hokage. Both Jonins nodded in understanding and agreed that once they fully set up their teams, they would try work out a schedule to help train Naruto in their areas. Excuse me Hokage-sama, but what about the missing spot on Kakashi team, who will fill in Naruto's place on the team? Asked Kurenai, as with Naruto gone Team 7 was a member short. I have already thought of that. There was another student that was going to put on Team 7 that had not been in the academy, but I had him held back as Naruto was already sorted in Kakashi's team. But with Naruto gone to train under Yamato, the other student can take his place on Kakashi's team, replied the Hokage, who got a nod of agreement from Kakashi. Once that matter had been settled, the Hokage was about to adjourn this gathering, but before he could, a figure suddenly appeared in the office as it shunshined in. The figure was none other than Jiraiya. Hey sensei, long time no see, sorry I'm late as my meeting with my contact took longer than I thought, so how did Naruto do? No wait. Don't tell me. Let me guess, he passed with flying colors, boy. I remember the time that I gave his dad and his team the bell test. Ah, that takes me back. Minato was the clever sort where he spoke Jiraiya excitedly, as he had been eager to find out what team Naruto was on and how well he passed the team test for whatever team he was on. He had been so excited that he failed to notice the others in the room until it was too late. Jiraiya! Cried the Sandaime angrily as Jiraiya had just blurted out something he shouldn't have in front of the other. When Jiraiya turned around and saw them, oops, I guess I came at a bad time. At the moment that Jiraiya basically said that Minato was Naruto's father, jaws hit the floor and eyes went to the size of saucer plates. SS Sensei HH had an S-son, said wide-eyed and stupefied Kakashi. WW with T Tsunade-sama, finished an equally stupefied Kurenai. Damn, was all Asuma could say. Sarutobi, I suggest that you give us some answers, now. Replied a very annoyed and slightly angry Kushina, as she wanted an explanation now. At this Sarutobi could only sigh and glare at Jiraiya for being such barker and was tempted to strangle him, where all Jiraiya could do was rub the back of his head and look embarrassed with a stupid grin. Sigh. Very well then, but what I about to tell you is a S-class secret where only Jiraiya, Tsunade, Naruto, Tsunade's student Shizune and myself know about, and if you tell anyone you will be charged with treason, spoke the elder Sarutobi seriously. At this everyone stiffed at the seriousness of the Hokage's tone, as treasons was punishable with death. The Sandaime then went on to explain the events that lead to Naruto existing, which was something many of the other found hard to believe. So you're telling us that Minato-kun and Tsunade both got drunk together one night, spoke Kushina. Where they then spent the night together, said Kurenai. After which, Tsunade-sama found out that she was pregnant with Naruto and that Sensei was the father, said Kakashi. Where she decided to keep young Naruto and give birth to him in the village, finished Yamato. That is correct, stated the Sandaime. Damn, no wonder the kid's so talented and powerful for his age, he basically has cage blood flowing through his veins. With his mother being, Konoha no Namakuji Tsunade Hime, Konoha's slug Princess Tsunade, member of the Densetsu no Sanin, legendary 3 ninjas and the world's strongest Kunoichi and a greatest medic. His father being Yondaime Hokage, Konoha no Kiroi Senko, Konoha's Yellow Flash, his great-grandfather being the Shodaime Hokage and his great-granduncle being the Nadaime Hokage, spoke Asuma. As the revelation stuck, Kakashi could not help but be depressed. Naruto is Sensei-san. How could have I been so blind? He looks almost like a younger version of him with a few small differences. I had a chance to finally pay back Sensei for everything he did for me by training his son, but I threw it away, he thought sadly. Seeing the depressed look on Kakashi, Asuma decided to cheer him up. Hey Kakashi, don't worry about it. Like you said, this Yamato guy would be a better teacher for him. Besides, you can still help train him better in his lightning affinity and other ninjutsu. This course cheered Kakashi up a bit and he nodded his head in thanks to Asuma. Kakashi wasn't the only person to be slightly depressed at the news, as Kushina was slightly depressed as well. Minato-kun had a child, Tsunade of all people. I never, though he went for older women. Sigh. I still can't believe he got drunk and spelt with Tsunade all PEOPL, and I can't be angry because we had broken up already and it had been my idea, but still. Sigh. I wonder what could have happened if we had stayed together and if we could have had a child together. Would Naruto have been our son? I wonder what Naruto is like. Though Kushina. As Kushina and Kakashi were getting over the slight depressing over what they did in the past, Jiraiya suddenly spoke up, remembering something that Asuma said. Wait. What do you mean by explaining how strong he was? Asked Jiraiya, where the Sandaime then gave Jiraiya a quick run through of what they had been talking about before he arrived. Damn, spoke Jiraiya, I had hoped the brat would have waited a little longer before exposing what he could do, but I guess he had no choice when it came to passing or failing after those other two wouldn't work with him. Hokage-sama, although I can understand why you feel the need to keep young Naruto-san full heritage secret for now, so to prevent the large number of enemies that would come after him due to his heritage alone. I still do not understand why it is declared an S-class secret, nor why it was kept from the ruling council, as when they eventually hear this there will be a great deal of trouble from them over not being told about it. At this, Sarutobi looked at Jiraiya, who just said, you might as well tell them, sensei, since they be helping the kid. Sigh. The reason why this is all ranked an S-level secret is because Naruto was born on the night of the Kyuubi attack. Whereas you all know, Minato knew that we could not defeat the Kyuubi, so he used a special jutsu that he created called the Shiki Fujin, dead demon consuming seal, and sacrificed himself to seal the Kyuubi into a child to stop the demon. But what you don't know is that child was Naruto, said the Hokage, shocking everyone minus Jiraiya. The Yondaime actually sealed the demon into his own son. Asked Kurenai in shock, as she doubted she could do such a thing herself in the Yondaime's place, knowing how Jinchurikis were usually treated. But why did the Yondaime not seal the demon into another child? Why did he choose his own son? Asked the Yamato. The Yondaime was far too noble a person to ask another family to make such a sacrifice when he could not himself, stated the Sandaime sadly. Both Kakashi and Kushina nodded in agreement with the Sandaime, as they knew what the Yondaime was like. So you can now see why Naruto was kept out of the village. His existence was kept secret along with the rest of his heritage. As for the reason why I never told the council, if they learned that Naruto was the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Yoko, nine-tailed demon fox, along with the rest of his heritage, they would have never have allowed Tsunade leave the village with Naruto. Where he would either be treated as an outcast for being a Jinchuriki or spoiled rotten for his lineage by the village. Both of which were unacceptable to me, not to mention if the other villagers found out about Naruto's existence and being Tsunade's and Minato's son, they would stopped at nothing to kidnap or kill Naruto. Also as well, we would have to worry about inside forces like Danzo, since as the son of Minato and the heir of the Senju clan, Naruto will have enormous political power. Not to mention he will have enormous control over Konoha's economy as the heir to the Namikaze family, since 51% of the businesses in Konoha belong to the Namikaze family. Where if you combined all that with Naruto having the power of the Kyuubi as well the abilities that we now know he has then with Naruto, Danzo would then have more than enough power to take complete control of Konoha and rule it his way, which as you know would be disastrous for Konoha. Not to mention as well what the other villages would do if they found out the same thing about Naruto's abilities and the Kyuubi, said the old Hokage. At this kind of reasoning the others could only nod about keeping things like that from the council, especially the fact that Naruto had both Mokuton and the strongest Biju alive inside him. Since if you combine the power of a Jinchuriki that contains the strongest of Bijus inside him with the power of Mokuton, which can suppress Biju's powers and control them, you get a force that could be virtually unstoppable, once Naruto has mastered and can control both. Once that was explained, the Sandaime then turned to Jiraiya. Now Jiraiya, I would like to know when Naruto awakened his Mokuton bloodline and why neither you nor Tsunade informed of it. Asked the Sandaime. I'm sorry sensei, Tsunade wanted to tell you, but I convinced her not to since I thought the fewer people know about this the better. As I feared there might be a chance that someone like Danzo could intercept the message or somehow learn about it if we told you. I knew that eventually Naruto would have to reveal his Mokuton bloodline. Where when he did you would have the excuse of not knowing and you wouldn't have to deal with Danzo or his supporters on the council, trying to usurp your position over how you didn't inform them about Naruto's abilities. As I figure they have already made several big issues about not being informed of Naruto's existence, said Jiraiya. Getting a nod of understand from the Sandaime, although he still did not like being kept out of the loop about his surrogate grandson for so long. And what about his high water affinity? He asked. That he only showed last year, where when I was training him he instinctively did a Mizu Bunshin no Jutsu, water clone technique, in the middle of the forest by gathering the moisture from the grass and air. When I tested him on some other water jutsus that required a larger amounts of water he was still able to do them without any problem or ill effect, replied Jiraiya. The Sandaime just nodded again in understanding. Is there anything else that we should know about Naruto, Jiraiya? Well, there is one other thing sensei, although it isn't about Naruto it still does involve him, spoke Jiraiya, where the Sandaime signaled him to continue on. Currently there is a group called the Akatsuki. They're a small group that have been doing missions for cheap prices for both shinobi villages and countries and have been slowly gaining strength. The group is made up of 9 S-class missing nins, spoke Jiraiya, shocking everyone in the room. Are you certain of this, Jiraiya? Asked the Sandaime, as he knew what kind of threat this Akatsuki would make to any major shinobi village if they were made up of 9 S-class missing nin. Yay, I'm sure I even know 2 of its members, one being Orochimaru and the other being that Itachi kid, although a while ago Orochimaru left the organization, to go on his own after he betrayed the organization when he attacked another member, that member being Itachi. At this everyone grew concerned as Konoha's 2 most infamous missing nins were members of this organization, and although thankfully Orochimaru was no longer a member, the fact that Itachi was still on it was cause from great concern. What about the others? And what are their plans? Asked the Sandaime. I don't know who the other members are, but as for their plan they want the Bijus, but for what don't know, stated Jiraiya, causing many worried looks to appear on people. But they don't know about Naruto having the Kyuubi, thankfully, although I'm sure they will find out about his Mokuton bloodline sooner or later, and once they do they will come after Naruto for it, as his bloodline could greatly help them or even cause their plan to fail. For the next 4 minutes the Sandaime thought over what he had heard, after which he then spoke. Jiraiya, although I know I don't need to ask you, I want you to go out and try and find everything you can about the Akatsuki, but before you do, I want you, Kakashi, Yamato and Kushina to come with me. As I will need to inform the council about Naruto abilities and how he fared in Kakashi test, as they wanted to know what happened as soon as the test was over, due to Naruto and Sasuke being on it. Jiraiya nodded in understanding, although he wasn't looking forward to going to see the council as he hated council meetings. Once that was settled the Sandaime turned to Asuma and Kurenai. Although I'm sure you already know this, but you are both forbidden to mention anything that we have discussed in the room to anyone without my permission. Is that clear? Spoke the Sandaime in an authoritative tone that showed why he was the Hokage. Both of them nodded, where the Hokage then dismissed them, although as they were leaving Asuma made a joke about how the Yondaime not only outdid his sensei Jiraiya, but also lived every young man dream back then. Get laid with Tsunade. This of course resulted in him getting a hard smack at the back of his head from Kurenai and then be sent flying into the wall of the outside hallway by a punch from an angry Kushina, showing exactly why she was known as a Kai Chichio no Habanero. Soon after though the Hokage left his office in a company of Jiraiya, Kakashi, Kushina and Yamato headed to the council room. 1 hour later in the council room. And that what happened, said Kakashi as he finished retelling what happened in the bell test to the council. Once he finished telling them, he had expected much yelling or shouting about what they should do about Naruto. But surprisingly there was only silence, although the silence soon ended when a shocked Koharu spoke out. The boy possesses the Nadaime Hokage high water affinity. Quote, along with the Mokuton powers of the Shodaime Hokage, said an equally shocked Homura. Quote, as well as 4 natural nature affinities, finished the Anbu commander stunned. Soon enough, excited muttering erupted in the council room, where the different council members began to talk over Naruto's skill level amongst themselves. Jiraiya-sama, do you know why the Mokuton powers of the Shodaime Hokages remerge in young Naruto, when it did not with his mother, her brother, their father or any other Senju member? Asked Shibi, which got much muttering in agreement with other council members. Yes, I do. Many years back when I was doing my studies Myobokuzen, I came across an ancient record written by a sage long ago, back when the great shinobi clans were only being founded. In the records it spoke about when the bloodlines were first showing up. It stated that the bloodlines were unstable in the first holders of them, and many of the children of bloodline holders did not receive their parents' bloodline. It was not until a few generations more after the first bloodline holders of each bloodline did the bloodlines finally stabilize so that the other generations of the clans would have them, although only a few members in certain clans inherited their bloodline. This can explain how not everyone in a clan with a bloodline can receive and use their clan's bloodline, since it may have not stabilized in certain people in those later generations. The Uchiha clan and the Kaguya clan are prime examples of this, since only a quarter of the Uchiha clan members can use the Sharingan, while only a select few from the Kaguya clan possess the Shikotsumyaku, dead bone pulse. Since it was only the ancestors of those members of those clans whose bloodline finally stabilize enough for it to be passed down to their children. Unlike the Hyuga clan where all its members were able to retain its bloodline, said Jiraiya, and then continued on. My theory is that Shodaime Hokage was the first person to be born with the Mokuton bloodline, and like with the first bloodline users, the Mokuton bloodline was too unstable to be passed on to his descendants like Tsunade's father, Chuan's brother Nawaki, and Tsunade herself. But it seems that the Mokuton bloodline finally stabilized with Naruto, hence why he's the one to have it, finished Jiraiya. When the council heard this, many had to agree it did make sense, after which Choza spoke up. If that's true, Jiraiya-sama, then is there a chance that young Naruto will be able to pass on Mokuton to any children he may have in the future, and it can become an official bloodline? This of course got eager looks from the council members, as they were all wondering this now as well. I believe that the chances are very high, if not very likely, considering what Tsunade and I have researched about bloodlines, replied Jiraiya simply, as he already knew what many council members were thinking right now. They were thinking about encouraging the daughters, those that had daughters who would be near enough around Naruto's age, to become friends with Naruto, so to help lift their family status. For the next 20 minutes there was much arguing between the Hokage and many council members, as those council members were trying to convince the Hokage to sign off on arranging marriages between certain council members' daughters with Naruto, while other members tried to get the Hokage to sign off on getting Naruto to impregnate strong selected Kunoikis who were not from any clans, when he turned 16. So that he could rebuild the Senju clan and increase the chances of having strong children with his Mokuton bloodline. Unfortunately for them, he would not sign off on either, as he stated that any arranges marriages between any families or clans with Naruto would have to be agreed upon by the head of the Senju clan, which was his mother Tsunade. While the other suggestion was put down immediately, as Sarutobi would not have it and even threatened those that suggested it, that if they ever brought it up again, then he would inform Tsunade himself that they tried to turn her son into a breeding machine for his bloodline, upon her eventually return to Konoha. This of course had the desired effect, as said members gulped audibly at the thought of what Tsunade would do to them once she heard that. Once they realized this, they quickly retracted their suggestion and remained silent. During this time, two members of the council remained silent during the entire meeting. They were Hiashi and Danzo. Hiashi had remained silent, due to thinking over what he had just heard, and was wondering whether this would cause the Hyuga clan elders to accelerate their plans on Naruto to elevate the Hyuga clan's position higher, or would they have to change it due to his Mokuton bloodline. Danzo, on the other hand, had remained silent as he analyzed this new discovery. The boy's potential is clearly enormous, as he basically has all the gifts of his ancestors and much, much more. He has his mother flawless chakra control, along with her monstrous strength and medical talent. He also has the Shodaime Hokage's Mokuton bloodline, where he can most likely pass it on to future generations, along with the Nidaime's Hokage's high water affinity. He has 4 natural nature affinities and could even quite possibly have Senju Toka talent for Genjutsu, considering how advanced he is already in it. Not to mention he most likely gifted in seals thanks to Jiraiya, as he was able to do a Chunin level Fuinjutsu and is skilled in Kenjutsu and Taijutsu. Altogether, with the right training, the boy could become the greatest Hokage that has ever lived. where he could finally push aside Sarutobi's foolish ideals like of peaceful coexistence and compromise, but not if his mother, Sarutobi and Jiraiya influence him into having the same beliefs, where he will be just as bad as them. I must find a way to get close to the boy and make him see the light, where he must be ruthless, cruel, cunning and never to compromise. So to ensure Konoha is strong and its existence and its own peace is maintained, though Danzo as he began to plan to think up ways to get close to Naruto. Once the discussions quietened down, Danzo decided to speak up. Hokage-san, if I may, I would like to make a suggestion. At this, Sarutobi frowned as he had an educated guess as to what Danzo was about to suggest, but he still nodded his head and allowed Danzo to go ahead. Now, as we can clearly guess with your Anbu agent Tenzo here, you no doubt plan to have him made a Jonin sensei and Tsunade's son Naruto be made his apprentice to master his Mokuton bloodline and perhaps help him in water and earth affinities. At this, Sarutobi nodded as there was no need to hide it. He will also be no doubt trained by his mother in medical ninjutsu and to further improve his superhuman strength, while Jiraiya here would train the boy in fuinjutsu and perhaps ninjutsu, continued Danzo while getting another nod from Sarutobi. This of course leaves several areas that he won't be trained in, such as kenjutsu, his wind and lightning affinities, along with his genjutsu skills. I believe I can help the boy in his first two, as I've an affinity to wind and am skilled in kenjutsu and Koharu could help him with his genjutsu. This of course gotten several murmurs of agreement as Danzo's skill as a shinobi were well known and he could help Naruto greatly in those area. Koharu also nodded that she would offer her assistance as his genjutsu skills are equally well known. Sarutobi of course expected something like this to happen as he knew Danzo planned to do something like this, so to try and get close to Naruto and manipulate him to what he wanted Naruto to do for him. That was also why he suggested Koharu to teach Naruto genjutsu as she shared many common beliefs that Danzo did and could also use her to get to Naruto as well. That is a very generous offer, Danzo, but I'm afraid that I already have people picked to help Naruto in those areas, said Sarutobi with a barely seen smirk. At this, Danzo narrowed his eye very slightly so that it was hard for anyone to tell that he did, and may I ask who have you picked in those areas? He asked. I have chosen my son Asuma to train Naruto in improving his wind affinity from time to time, along with Yuhi Kurenai from time to time in genjutsu. Kakashi has also volunteered to help Naruto improve his lightning affinity and I have chosen Kushina who will be assisting Tenzo, who will now be known as Yamato, where she will be training Naruto in kenjutsu, fuinjutsu when Jiraiya is away on missions and helping Naruto in his water affinity, said Sarutobi as he smirked inside his mind. Although Kakashi is a fine choice in helping in the boy's lightning affinity and Kushina-san is an equally fine choice in teaching him kenjutsu and helping with his water affinity and fuinjutsu. I believe that Koharu and I would be better choices in improving his genjutsu skills and his wind affinity. Although both your son and Kurenai are highly skilled in their areas, both have their own genin teams and it would interfere with their teaching with their own genin teams, where they will suffer for it. While Koharu and I are more flexible and have more time to help the young boy and have more experience and knowledge than they would and other than our official duties. We are on the reserve shinobi list allowing for more training time in those areas, said Danzo. As he knew that he could not get close to Naruto through kenjutsu now as Kushina was a far better kenjutsu user than he was and he was no longer in his prime. Even if he was more skilled in kenjutsu or in his prime, he knew he could not win to train Naruto, as she could use her clan's strong ties with the Senju clan to persuade everyone to allow her to help train the boy. As the Uzumaki clan and the Senju clan were distant blood relatives and shared a common ancestor, not to mention the boy's great-grandmother was a member of the Uzumaki clan. Knowing this, he tried to get close to Naruto through training him in wind affinity and maybe genjutsu, through Koharu. Many on the council, mainly the civilians, muttered in agreement with Danzo as what he said was indeed true, but thankfully Sarutobi was prepared for something like this. Although that is true, both Asuma and Kurenai along with Kakashi have already agreed to help Naruto, where they will train Naruto at certain times, when they're training their own genin. This will also allow Naruto to form bonds with their genin students and become friends with them, as from traveling all around the continent with his mother and having no one but her and her apprentice Shizune to be with. Naruto has very few friends his own age and he would be further isolated from others his own age as Yamato's apprentice. Hence mixing him in with the other teams will allow Naruto to make friends his own age and at the same time allow him to form a bond in the village. At this, most of the council now seemed to mutter in agreement in the Hokage reasoning, as the most important thing right now was for Naruto to form a bond in the village, so that he will more likely stay in the village and remain loyal to it. At this, Danzo knew he could not win and coincided defeat, as Koharu also seemed now to agree with Sarutobi's decision. As Sarutobi smiled at his victory over Danzo, he could see the near glare the old war hawk was giving him. You won this round, Sarutobi, but this war is far from over. I will get the Senju boy, thought Danzo as the council meeting now ended. But before they all left, Sarutobi issued a new decree, which was that Naruto abilities were to remain hidden and only known to the people in this room from now on. So to prevent others from outside the village from finding out about Naruto's abilities are at least for now and wait until the time was right to reveal them. As if they revealed Naruto skills and abilities too, so it could cause both Naruto and the village a lot of trouble in the near future, especially before Naruto can begin to get better use of his Mokuton bloodline. As other villages may try to kidnap Naruto so they can use him, Sarutobi backed up this decree up, stating that if anyone spoke it to anyone else outside this room, he or she would be charged with endangering village security. This, of course, was punishable with spending 20 years in a maximum security cell with the worst of Konoha criminals. Sarutobi also told Kakashi that after the meeting was over, he was to go and tell both Sakura and Sasuke that they were forbidden to tell anyone of what they saw Naruto do. Where if they told anyone or it is discovered they told anyone, they would have their ninja licenses revoked, their chakra sealed and suffer the same punishment as anyone on the council that broke the Sandaim's degree. He even told that to make the especially clear to Sasuke, in case he believes that his status of the last of his clan protects him from such punishments. The civilians' council members of course argued about that to the Hokage, but the Sandaime would not budge on the matter, stating that if Sasuke would not obey the Hokage's orders like any true Konoha shinobi, then he did not deserve to be a shinobi of Konoha. Kakashi of course nodded in understanding and promised to make sure that both Sasuke and Sakura understood the seriousness of the matter when he spoke to them after the meeting. Once that matter was settled and everyone had agreed, the Hokage ended the meeting, where everyone slowly left the room, quietly talking amongst themselves what they had found out in the meeting. With Naruto in the village. As Naruto was walking through the village, he saw all the different stares he was getting from everyone as he walked by. Many were even whispering to one another as they looked at him and made way from him as he walked through the street. Naruto hated all this as he didn't like all the attention he was getting because it was all about being the heir of the Senju clan, along with the descendant of the Shodaime and Nadaime Hokages and Tsunade's son. It was even worse when he went into grocery stores as people called him Senju-sama and even tried to give him free stuff, which he refused. Having enough of this, Naruto decided to jump onto the roofs and make his way to one of the training grounds so he could be alone and train as well as get away from all the people's stares. As he made his way along the rooftops, he suddenly heard some commotion coming from an alleyway he just jumped over. When he looked down, he saw a group of kids with sticks cornering a young pup that looked scared and hurt, where they seemed ready to attack it. Angry at what he saw, Naruto decided to stop it, where he quickly did a few hand seals and the cried out Tsuten, Teppadama water style, gunshot, and fired several large balls of water from his mouth at the kids' heads, soaking them completely. After which he jumped down between the scared and hurt pup and the kids, who were now soaking wet and laying on the group. I suggest you brats scram it and leave this pup alone or else you will deal with me, said Naruto angrily. At the sight of Naruto and seeing his headband, the kids got scared and ran off, although as they did, Naruto shouted out, "And if I ever see you picking this pup or any other animal again, I do more than wet you." Once the kids were gone, Naruto turned to the pup that was hunched down against the corner whimper. The pup was a medium brown color, with a mixture of dark brown and light brown, and he had bright blue eyes. Too, as he got a better look at the pup, he saw that it looked more like a wolf, but he doubted that a wolf cub would wander into the village. He guessed that it was half wolf and half dog. Hence he guessed that the pup belonged to the Inuzuka, as they had many different types of dogs, meaning that if the pup belonged to anyone, it was them. As he tried to pick the pup, it growled and tried to bite him. Seeing this, Naruto figured that the pup was scared that he would hurt it. Naruto then went and took out some ham sandwiches he had made for himself to eat later. He then took out some ham out of one of the sandwiches and laid it out on the ground in front of the pup and stepped away from it and waited for the pup to take it. At first the pup did nothing and just watched Naruto cautiously, but soon enough it started to sniff at the ham and slowly crawl over to the ham and started to nibble at the ham. When Naruto saw this he smiled, and once the pup had eaten the ham he gave it another piece. Upon eating the second piece, Naruto picked the pup up. When he picked the pup up yelped and started to struggle. "Hey easy little guy, the first not going to hurt you," said Naruto as he started to pat its head and rub it to get the dog to calm down. Soon enough the pup started to calm down. Naruto gave it another piece of ham, where the pup started to eat it. As it was doing that, Naruto then did a few one-handed hand seals and shosen jutsu, mystical palm technique, and began to heal the wound he saw on the upper leg, not doubt getting the wound when he was running from those kids that were attacking it. Naruto had learned one-handed hand seals from Shizune, who knew a few and had taught them him, although he had to learn the rest from reading about them in scrolls. After about a minute or two Naruto had finished healing the pup's leg wound, after which he then put the pup down and then banged the pup's leg up. When Naruto was done he smiled down at the pup. "Now doesn't that feel better?" To which the pup yelped again as if saying yes and started to lick his face, which caused Naruto to smile and laugh as the pup licked him. Naruto then picked the pup up again and then said, "Okay little guy, let's see if we can find your home," after which he started to walk to the Inuzuka clan compound, where their kennels were. A little later in the Inuzuka kennels. As Naruto made his way through the Inuzuka compound, he soon reached the kennels. When he got there he saw Kiba, who by the look of things was being told off by a young but older looking girl, who looked to be nearing her later teens if not early 20s. Also with them were Akamaru and 3 dogs that Naruto guessed belonged to the girl. The girl herself had the traditional fang-like tattoos of the Inuzuka clan on both of her cheeks, in addition to a tattoo on her upper right arm that resembles a flower. She had long brown hair that was tied into a ponytail that went down between her shoulder blades with one hair bang on each side of her face. She also wore a standard flak jacket, with black shorts and green armbands. When he got closer, he started to hear what the girl was saying. "How you could be so stupid not to make sure that the gate was closed when you came to feed the pups is beyond me. I had my hands full with their food and I had about a dozen more chores to do after that. It's not my fault he went off, you know he's never got on with the other pups," replied Kiba, who was annoyed with being told off. But after he said this, he saw Naruto coming towards them. "Senju. What the he are you doing her, come to gloat at me cleaning up dog poop? Get over yourself Kiba, despite what you think my world doesn't revolve around you, I just came here to return this pup, which I guessing belongs to you," replied Naruto as he held out the young pup, which yelped upon seeing Kiba and the girl. "Kurimaru!" cried the girl as she quickly went over to the pup. She then took the pup from Naruto and held him up. As she did this the pup licked the girl's face, happy to see her. When he did this she smiled. As she examined the pup she noticed his bandaged leg, where she then looked at Naruto and asked him what happened to his leg. "Did you hurt one of our pups Senju?" accused Kiba as he took a step forward and pointed accusingly at Naruto. "Of course not, I was the one who healed him and saved him from those who attacked him," replied an annoyed Naruto. "Yeah right," scoffed Kiba, not believing Naruto. Naruto was about to retort to Kiba's comment, but before he could, the girl spoke. "Stop making such an ass of yourself Kiba and shut up for once and let's hear his side of the story. Besides, Kurimaru wouldn't have been hurt in the first if you had done your job right and closed the gate when you brought the pups food," rounded the girl. "But sis," spoke Kiba before his sister gave him a glare that told him to shut it, after which she then told Naruto to explain what happened to Kurimaru. Naruto then spent the next few minutes explaining to them how he stopped the kids from attacking Kurimaru. Once he finished, Kiba's sister narrowed her eyes at hearing how a group of kids attacked Kurimaru, where if she had been there she would have done more than just given him a soaking. When Naruto had finished what had happened, Kiba just scoffed again, and "We're just supposed to take your word for that Senju." "It's the truth," replied Naruto as he narrowed his eyes as he was starting to lose his patience with Kiba. "Yeah right I bet," said Kiba but was interrupted by his sister again. "I thought I told you to shut it Kiba," said his annoyed sister. "But Hana you can't actually believe his story?" asked Kiba in disbelief. "Why shouldn't I?" asked Hana. "He could be lying, for all we know," replied Kiba. "If he isn't he had attacked Kurimaru, why would he heal him? Why would he bring him back here and why is Kurimaru not growling at him or seems scared of him either? For once Kiba use what little in brains you have in that thick skull of yours and think about it before you say it," said Hana. At this Kiba had no answer for and just stomped his foot on the ground angrily, while Naruto just smirked at seeing Kiba being put in his place by his sister Hana. It was at this point that a new person joined the group. What all the commotion going on over here, spoke a middle-aged and medium-high woman who had animalistic look similar to that of Kiba. She also had long spiky brown hair, vertical slit-like pupils, elongated canine teeth and nails, as well as Inuzuka clan fang markings on her cheeks as well as markings over her eyes and a dark shade of lipstick, and wore a standard outfit of a Konoha shinobi. Accompanying her was a large black dog with an eye patch over its left eye. When Naruto saw her, he guessed that she was Kiba's and Hana's mother due to the similar features she shared with Kiba. Well mom, it seems that when Kiba over here was feeding the pups, the barker forgot to shut the gate shut right and Kurimaru got out, where he wandered into the village and was attacked by a group of kids. Luckily though Naruto here was nearby and was able to rescue him and even heal him after he got hurt, spoke Hana. Hana had looked over Kurimaru's bandaging, when she checked him over, and even though Naruto had no veterinary skills, he had done a pretty good job of treating Kurimaru. After giving Kiba a verbal berating about how he should be more careful and telling him that he would be on kennel duty for another month, much to Kiba misery, Tsunade turned to Naruto. So you're the young Senju pup I've been hearing about so much these days, said Tsunade as she turned to look at Naruto. You have caused quite a stir in both the village and the council lately, especially after what I've heard at the one I was just at a little while ago. Yay, I beat, replied Naruto with a sigh, as he guessed what many of them were talking about. What are you talking about, Mom? Asked Kiba. Sorry, can't tell. The Hokage forbidden anyone from the council and those privileged with info from speaking about it to anyone without his say-so first, answered Tsunade. Where Kiba just huffed, annoyed at the fact that the council were talking about something about Naruto and he didn't know about it, while his mother and Naruto did. Also, I want to thank you for agreeing to keep the incident with Kiba a secret, said Tsunade as she was grateful, as it would have disgraced their whole clan had people know about it, even if Kiba had been tricked. At the mention of the incident, Kiba frowned as he did not like reminded of it, where he sulked and looked away. No problem, Inuzuka-sama, I didn't think you clan needed to be embarrassed in front of the whole village, because of a stupid mistake that Kiba made, said Naruto. Hey! Cried Kiba angrily, where he was about to start argue about what Naruto said, but before he could, his mother spoke up. Shut it, Kiba, what he said is true. If you had used your head instead of letting your bruised ego rule you, then you wouldn't have been so easily tricked in the first place, reprimanded Tsunade angrily as she was still angry at Kiba for being such a barker. After which she then turned back to Naruto. Call me Tsunade, as I don't like those kind of titles. Oh, a world of warning, pup, I suggest that you watch out for some of the other council member, especially those with daughters. As you can bet that they will have the daughter go after you in the hope they can find a way to get you to marry one of them, so to improve the social status along with other things, which I'm sure you know what I mean, spoke Tsunade. Where Naruto just nodded as his mother had already told him to watch out for those types of people and girls once his existence and abilities were known to the council and the village. Yeah, I know all about that, as I expected it, so I know what to expect from certain people, said Naruto. At this Tsunade nodded, where she and Hana then spent the next few minutes talking to Naruto, where Hana even questioned him on his medical skills when it came to animals, as he had shown some decent skills in it when he helped Kurimaru. Tell me, Tsunade-san, is Kurimaru a half-breed of a wolf? Asked Naruto, as he had guessed it when he first saw him but still wasn't sure. Yea, he is, replied Tsunade as she was surprised that Naruto could tell. How did you know? Well, he oblivious has some of the features of one, but there are a few small differences that say he isn't a full-blooded wolf, answered Naruto as he read up about dog breeding in a book about animals. Tsunade was of course impressed further after hearing this. I also couldn't help overhearing Kiba saying that Kurimaru doesn't get on too well with the other pups. Why is that? Asked Naruto. Well, one day Kurimaru's mother got loose and lost in the forest. A few days later we found her alone, and a few months later she gave birth to Kurimaru and his 3 brothers and 3 sisters. We guessed that she must have met a male wolf in the forest and mated with him, and although Kurimaru brothers and sister look and act more dog-like, Kurimaru looks and acts a little more wolf-like, where he likes to roam around and doesn't like being cooped up in a pen and doesn't get on too well with his siblings and the other pups, replied Tsunade. And what about his mother? Asked Naruto. She was killed when on a mission along with her partner, said Tsunade sadly. Naruto lowered his head sadly at that, as the Kurimaru and his sibling were basically orphan pups, although at least they were lucky enough to have the rest of the Inuzuka clan to take care of them. Soon enough though Naruto decided to leave as he had some training to do, As he was walking away, Kurimaru jumped out of Hana's arms and went over to Naruto and started to pull on his pants and try and stop him from leaving. Well, it seems that Kurimaru has taken a liking to you, pup, and doesn't want you to leave, said Chum with a smile. I guess, said Naruto with own smile as he panted and rubbed the pup's head. I think that you're the only other person other than myself or my mother that Kurimaru seems to really like, commented Hana, with a smile. Yeah, I think you're right, maybe you should come around a little more, pup, as I sure Kurimaru would like to see you again, consider he taken a liking to you and you're more than welcome to, said Chum. Thanks Chum-san, I just might do that. How does that sound to you, boy? Spoke Naruto, where the pup barked, as if agreeing. After a few more minutes, Naruto said goodbye to Kurimaru, Chum and Hana and then headed to one of the training grounds to begin to train. 2 days later at night, just outside Konoha. Currently waiting behind the shadow of a large tree of the forest outside of Konoha was a young gray-haired genin with glasses by the name of Kabuto. Kabuto was here to meet with his master Orochimaru, as he had valuable information that he knew his master would be very interested in. Kabuto of course did not have to wait long as Orochimaru appeared out of the tree. Esu Kabuto-kun, what is it that is so important that you needed to see me? Asked Orochimaru with a sinister-like smirk. Well, Orochimaru-sama, I have some news that you will find very interested to learn, replied Kabuto calmly. And what is this news? Asked the snake Sannin. It seems that your former teammate Tsunade-sama has had child, a young boy to be precise, who has just recently become a genin, said Kabuto. At this news Orochimaru, eyes slightly widened. He had never expected Tsunade of all people to ever have a child, due to the loss of her brother and her late lover Dan. Once he got over his shock, he started to smirk a little. Who interesting, who would have that my old teammate Tsunade would actually have a child? Do you know who the boy's father is? I'm afraid not, Orochimaru-sama, as your former teammate has kept the identity of her spouse and the father of her child a secret as no one seems to know, but we do know that he is dead now, replied Kabuto. And what of the boy's skill level? Asked Orochimaru as he was interested in how his old teammate has trained her young son. I'm afraid I am currently unaware of what the boy is capable of, as the Hokage is keeping the boy's skill level a secret, as very few people know about the boy's skill level and those that do know are not talking. As from what I gathered, the Hokage has classified the boy's skill level and abilities, answered Kabuto with a slight frown as he was not used to knowing so little about a subject of interest and it did annoy him a little. How disappointing, Kabuto-kun, I would have expected better from you, since if my old sensei is going to all this trouble to hide the boy's abilities they must be something indeed, replied Orochimaru with clear disappointment. Forgive me Orochimaru-sama, I will make a better effort to learn more about him, replied Kabuto. See that you do, Kabuto-kun. Now can you tell me the boy's name and what team he is on, spoke Orochimaru. The boy's name is Senju Naruto, he is currently on Hitaki Kakashi team and is teamed up Haruno Sakura and young Uchiha Sasuke, who you have asked me look up on, spoke Kabuto calmly as he knew his master would find that bit interesting. Well now, I must admit it seems that my old sensei has not entirely lost his sense of humor by placing the last heir of the Uchiha clan in Konoha along with the last heir of the Senju clan on the same team together. Not to mention very convenient of him for me, as if young Naruto-kun and young Sasuke-kun prove to be both worthy, I may have two potential vessels on the same team together. It should be interesting to see how those two get on together, spoke Orochimaru. That may be a problem, Orochimaru-sama, spoke Kabuto, suddenly causing the traitorous Sannin to look at him. How so? He asked. Although I have not confirmed if it is true or not, but I have heard a rumor that the boy may be switched to a different team. To whom and for what reason I'm not certain of, as there are many theories, but he may not be on the same team with young Sasuke-kun for much longer, said Kabuto. How disappointing, but regardless it does not really change anything. If he does change teams, I think I will arrange a little test for him before the Chunin exams, to glaze a glimmer of his skill and potential. As I think it's only fitting that I test my old teammate's son capability, said Orochimaru with a sinister smirk on his face. At this Kabuto nodded agreement and told him he would make an effort to keep an eye on Naruto and learn everything he could about him. Before he left to return to the village, Kabuto handed Orochimaru a picture of Naruto so that he would know what he looks like. When Kabuto left, Orochimaru looked at the photo of Naruto. He could not help but lick his lips of the potential vessel that Naruto might make for him. Ku. I look forward to meeting you, Naruto-kun. as I will be seeing you very soon, said Orochimaru to himself before he disappeared once again into the trees. That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe. And see you guys later.